Here's Brody Brazil.
I'm not sure if there's ever any optimal timing for a situation like this, but what's happening with Kansas City and the Chiefs is obviously unfortunate considering the fact that they just won the Super Bowl like a handful of weeks ago, and they've been successful for years and pretty much a decade going back into recent history. And now this, an April 2nd vote in Jackson County, is kind of going to decide the fate of the Chiefs, either securing it in Kansas City or putting a big question mark next to it for the very near future. It's not a sure thing, like if this goes one way or another on April 2nd, that they're fully in or fully out. But if it's a yes vote and this sales tax continues, then I think the Chiefs have already made their promise. If it's a no vote, well, you'll hear what they'll say about that in just a second. First off, a little bit that you need to know regarding Arrowhead Stadium. It opened in 1972, seats 76,000 plus. When they built it, it was at a cost of $43 million. Wow, things have changed since the early 1970s. They renovated it in 2010 to the tune of $375 million. And the team is really looking to double down and stay in this current spot and facility and venue. But they're also asking for the money to help facilitate that. And that's where this April 2nd vote comes in. It would extend a 3/8 cent sales tax in Jackson County. Now, this has existed, I want to say, since the early 2000s. It's bound to exist, I think, another handful of years past right now. They want to carry this on. I'm pretty sure it's until the 2070s if this vote goes through. But that tax has always been split equally between the Chiefs and Royals, kind of a slush fund, so to speak, to take care of their stadium and operating expenses. And this comes from taxpayers to fund these two teams. That 3/8 cent sales tax, it goes straight 50-50 between the Royals and the Chiefs. Now, the Royals recently made their intentions pretty clear that they want to leave the Truman Sports Complex. By the way, Kauffman Stadium, their baseball stadium, is right across the parking lot from Arrowhead Stadium. They built those two in tandem. So the Royals are already hoping that this vote passes so that it can help, the money they get from that, it can help build their new downtown baseball stadium. But the Chiefs are saying that they want to stay. They don't want to tear down Arrowhead. They don't want to build a dome over it. They don't want to build a new stadium. They want to upgrade what they currently have. And that's all assuming that maybe this vote passes and this sales tax continues for another, 3 or 4 decades. But here's what the team is saying if this vote does not pass. Listen to this.
What we're focused on is trying to make it simple. It's really simple. This is a better deal. These are not new taxes, and you keep both teams.
Could the Royals leave Kansas City, Missouri?
I can't answer that for the Royals. I just know that for us, the Chiefs, we would have to look at all of our options.
Do those options include leaving Kansas City, Missouri?
I think they would have to include leaving Kansas City, but our goal here is that we want to stay here. And we're willing to accept a deal, which is actually better for the county to stay here.
Wow. Good interview, good line of questioning there by the reporter of the NBC affiliate in Kansas City, Missouri. I think the better deal for the county would be to end the sales tax for the general public if they wanted to actually get out of it. But I understand the Chiefs' position on this. It's not a new tax. They're just asking to continue the current one so that they can make these upgrades. And I'll run you through the list of what they want to do. They want to include or improve tailgating scenarios, field boxes, a much bigger Jumbotron screen for both end zones. They really want to enhance the experience. A concert venue out in the parking lot, a full football field that I suppose they could use for other events outside of Arrowhead Stadium. So they want to take all that land and space that Kauffman Stadium, the baseball stadium, was occupying. They want to kind of take that over and make this entire complex theirs. They want to upgrade the interior, public areas, inside the concourses. All of that is well understood. We'll also get into what the owners are saying about why they want to stay and improve instead of just flat out go somewhere else. By the way, let me also just say it's almost like refreshing to hear a team talk about their dated, aging stadium and say that, we actually want to fix this up. We want to keep this going instead of let's bulldoze this place, let's start from scratch. You almost never hear this approach in current times with professional teams. So they want larger video boards. They want an upper deck canopy. They want 3 pedestrian bridges outside in the parking lots, new luxury suites, and expanded parking lots to take over that space from the vacated baseball park. Right? Here's what their owner, Clark Hunt, said. Our primary goals will be creating additional fan amenities on all 3 levels. We'll also do some things in the parking lots that will make the tailgating experience better, particularly if the Royals vacate Kauffman Stadium. And then there are a number of things we need to do to modernize a building that's 50 years old and make sure that the infrastructure associated with it is good to go for another 25 plus years. This comes to us from the Kansas City Star, some insight about either moving on to a new venue or not. The Chiefs explored options outside of renovating Arrowhead Stadium, including, like their potential short-time neighbors in the Truman Sports Complex, the Royals, building a new stadium, one that would include a retractable roof. That obviously would entail a higher cost, potentially 3 times the amount as a renovation, though it could also offer some additional opportunities. Back to the owner, Mr. Clark Hunt. The truth is, he says, quote, at the end of the day, we believe that Arrowhead would be just as good, if not better, than any building that we could create. We thought a little bit about a domed facility, which would be much more expensive to build. But as a family and as an organization, we're a big believer in playing football outside. We think it's something that gives us an advantage come December, January, when we're approaching the playoffs and playoff games. It's kind of cool to hear an owner talk about strategy like that, like their outdoor environment actually helps their team win games and their fans appreciate that. Quote, Arrowhead will largely look like it's always looked in the renovation. That's something that we've thought a lot about because one of the special things about Arrowhead is the sightlines and the way the bowl holds the noise in. We want to be very careful not to do things that take that away, so the designs will all have that in mind.
What we're focused on is trying to make it simple. It's really simple. This is a better deal. These are not new taxes, and you keep both teams.
Could the Royals leave Kansas City, Missouri?
I can't answer that for the Royals. I just know that for us, the Chiefs, we would have to look at all of our options.
Do those options include leaving Kansas City, Missouri?
I think they would have to include leaving Kansas City, but our goal here is that we want to stay here. And we're willing to accept a deal, which is actually better for the county to stay here.
I had to play that for you one more time. And again, the better deal would be letting the tax go, but I also understand the Chiefs' perspective is that the same tax continuing funds something so much better than what fans are currently getting. So here are my takeaways in no particular order. What their president said was not exactly a threat. He didn't say, if this happens, that will also happen. But it was certainly floated out there, and he was asked the question directly, had to know that was coming based on the vote and how all this is coming together. I mean, their stance and what they want to do and their suggestion along with the Royals' suggestion of a new ballpark, all of this puts a lot of tension and weight on the April 2nd county vote. Again, not exactly a threat. Now, the Royals are doing it differently. They're just saying, here's what we want to do. The Chiefs are saying, if we don't have enough money and we have this aging stadium, well, now we're forced to maybe make some decisions here that were not our first choices. So it's definitely being floated out there by the Chiefs. They're not denying this. They're not downplaying it. They're saying they want to look at all options. And yes, that would have to be one of the options. It is the same tax. It is being extended. It's not being increased or multiplied. So I will say that in the favor of things, it doesn't add anything new. It extends something that's already been going on for quite some time. Now, here's one of the kind of rubs of the whole deal. Arrowhead Stadium would be getting $800 million in upgrades, planned upgrades. The team would only cover $300 million, meaning that percent sales tax would be covering the remaining $500 million. And so people are wondering and questioning, like, why can't the team cover more or half the amount or a majority of the amount, or why not all of the amount and end the sales tax in Jackson County? And let me also say, timing is everything here. It's unfortunate that the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl and their fans just had a parade and their fans are celebrating what was a very successful football season and probably will continue to be a very successful football franchise for the near future. But now this is all kind of floating out there in the atmosphere. On the flip side, if you're the Chiefs, Maybe there's no better time to be asking for these things while you're on top, while you're relevant, while people are interested and excited in your product. And so timing is everything on both sides, the unfortunate side and somebody trying to strike while the iron is hot side. So April 2nd, again, I don't know if this decides the Chiefs' fate, as in if it doesn't pass, they and the Royals are out of here. I do feel like if it does pass, this should instantly happen. Like, there should be no question that if the Chiefs and Royals have put this much effort into it and it passes, then they ought to do this. This is what people would be voting for. But if the vote is no, it makes it very interesting for the baseball team and the football team that have called that Truman Sports Complex home for so many decades. You made it here to the end of the video. You know I appreciate that. Thumbs up down below. That'll greatly help me and this channel. And by the way, if you're new here, you're just seeing me for the very first time, I appreciate it. I'm glad you found me. Do me a quick favor. Make sure before you go, you hit that subscribe button down below so I can definitely see you back here next time.